Hey everyone, this is Dylan, and today I'll be doing a movie review for you guys. And the movie I'm reviewing today is VHS 2. Welcome to day 3 of the 31 Days of Halloween. I am excited that you're here. And with the new VHS 94 dropping later this month, I thought that going back and reviewing one of the previous installments of the VHS franchise would be a good idea. So I decided to choose 2. This is the one that I've seen the most, and I also remember really liking one of the segments in this, so I figured I would pick this one. And if you're not familiar with the VHS franchise, I think there are 4 or 5 movies in the franchise altogether. There's VHS, VHS 2, VHS Viral, and now VHS 94. So I think that's 4. There might be another one in there, I don't really know. But it is an anthology series, and I guess the whole idea is that every segment in the series is found on a VHS that lives in the world that the series has created. So now let's get into kind of a synopsis, but also a ranking of each of the segments in this movie. I'll give a brief overview and then I will rank each segment because it'll be kind of hard to give a synopsis for each of the things. So basically the premise slash wraparound of this movie is that these private investigators are tasked with going to this college kid's house because his mother hasn't heard from him in a couple days and see what's going on. And when they arrive, they find a whole bunch of super old TVs and a VHS player with all kinds of VHS throughout this entire apartment, but the guy is nowhere to be found. His laptop's there and everything, and we're just like, what's going on? So for whatever reason, the woman that's there is like, I'm gonna put these VHSs in the VHS player. And that's where we get each of the segments in this movie. And so now that's the basic overview. Now I will go through and rank each of the segments and give a brief description about them. There are 5 segments altogether, and then coming in at number 5 is the Tape 49 and the Frame narrative, which is basically the wraparound of the movie. I just didn't really think that it was that good. Overall, I think that a lot of the problem with the segments, and all of these segments, are some of the acting is pretty bad. And that's particularly apparent in this wraparound segment. It's just not good. And then the story is pretty weak as well. Coming in at number 4, this is, I believe, the second segment in this movie, but it's called A Bike in the Park. And this one was actually directed by Eduardo Sanchez, who is famous for the Blair Witch Project. And basically it's about these people that go to the park and a zombie outbreak occurs. And this one was just not good either. I think this one suffers from poor acting as well and a bit of poor special effects, I would say. Coming in at number 3, we have Phase 1 Clinical Trials. And this one is where this guy has injured his eye and can no longer see, so he ends up getting this robotic implant as a clinical trial, and it basically records everything and it relays it to his brain, but also is recorded for other people so that they can see, I guess, for the part of the clinical trial so they can make sure everything is working all right. And he basically starts seeing dead people. So very much like The Eye, the movie series. It's okay. It's not anything super interesting, but it's also not terrible. Then coming in at number 2, Slumber Party Alien Abduction. And I didn't really remember, this is one of the segments that I remembered out of this before I watched this, and I didn't remember really liking it, but for some reason I thought that this was probably one of the scarier and creepier segments in this anthology. Basically revolves around some teenagers who are having a slumber party after their parents go away for the weekend and the sister is left to babysit. And basically alien abduction occurs, and It is a bit hard at times in this one to see what's going on and figure out what's going on, but overall, I think that this is probably one of the actual scariest ones in this. And then the other one that I'm going to say, which was my favorite one, is more psychologically scary. So coming in at number 1 is Safe Haven. And this revolves around a group of reporters, I think, or documentarians who are investigating a cult in Indonesia. And they basically go to the cult to listen to what they have to say and give an unbiased report of what is going on there. Basically, while they're there, the big event happens, which the cult has been waiting for, and some really bizarre things start to occur. And so if you've ever seen the movie The Sacrament, I did a review of it. I'll put a little iCard up there if you are interested in watching it. But it's very similar premise to The Sacrament. I don't believe that this was based off of any particular cult, but I'm not super familiar with Indonesian cults, so it could be very well, but it definitely reminded me a bit of The Sacrament and the Jim Jonestown cult and what happened with that. But this one was, I think, by far the best segment in VHS 2. I think that it's psychologically pretty creepy. I mean, cults in general are pretty creepy, and I overall just really enjoyed this one. And before I finish this review, I just wanted to mention a couple of the found footage tropes that occurred in this movie. And one, it's like, I don't think that the wraparound needed to be found footage. I think that it probably would have worked better if it wasn't found footage and it was just like your traditional movie and they were watching the VHSs and that was the found footage part. I think that would have made a little bit more sense in the narrative of this movie. But there's issues with the changing of quality of the film, which I guess kind of makes sense if these are from different time periods, but it was a little jarring at times of having this change in quality. There's also like the static and all of that, which is pretty par for the course of found footage, but it's definitely not something that I like if there's not a reason for it to be there. And then the main one is like, who edited all the footage together? Like, there's multiple camera angles and camera shots and stuff. As the viewer, who are we supposed to think edited this film together to make it real? Like, the idea of found footage is that it's something that's real, but it's not very realistic to have a full film with edits in it, which, I don't know, it's just kind of a little bit of a nitty-gritty kind of thing that I have issues with in some found footage movies. But that is it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments down below if you've seen VHS 2 and whether you liked it or you didn't like it and why. And if you are excited for VHS 94, which is coming out on Shudder sometime later in this month. I'm not 100% sure, but I do plan on doing a review of that once it's out. And if you're not already subscribed and you'd like to be, please hit that subscribe button down below and give this video a like if you liked it. Thank you guys for watching and have a great day. Bye!